Hello and welcome to the Monroe Method Clancast. I am Jason Monroe. This is episode 170. I am sat on the floor in the office. I've just recorded a couple of reels, and one of them's made me want to talk about it as a podcast episode. In the reel, I said something along that, it began with, what is it going to take to get you to finally realise that your years of yo-yo dieting aren't working? That's not what I said. It was something like that. I work with people, generally speaking, who are between the ages of broadly 35 to 55. Some people are younger, some people are older, but generally speaking, the kind of main age range is around there. People who are old enough to have been dieting for decades. Now, I want you to cast your mind back. Now, this won't be true for everyone, because I know some people were overweight as children, and everybody has different circumstances. But based on the people that I have worked with, and the people that probably listen to this podcast, because I know I have a rough idea of the demographic I work with, that listens to the shit I say, I am going to say that the overwhelming majority of you have been dieting since your late teens or your early 20s. Cast your mind back to when you were 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and you decide, you were very naive to weight loss, you were very naive to dieting. You had this idea because your mum or somebody you knew or whatever went to Slimming World or Weight Watchers, that's what people did when they wanted to lose weight. And you're 19, 20, 21, and you felt like you could maybe lose a few pounds. And so you went along to one of the popular diets because that's just what people do. I bet that the majority of you, again, wish you could go back to the weight that you were back then. Most people I work with would pay to be the weight they were when they first thought they had weight to lose. I have spoken to so many people who say they would give anything to be that weight again. Even though they thought they were overweight at that age, they would love to be back there. And the thing is, every year, if it's not every year, then almost every year since then, you have dieted. And every year since then, you have gained to the point where your weight right now is probably a stone or two, maybe much more, than it was 20, 30 years ago. And this is the thing that is so difficult. This is what my life is about. This is, from a life as in work life. This is what I do for most of my working life, in terms of what I do for a career inside the Monroe Method as a nutritionist, as someone who shows up in social media every day trying to help people. It is, the challenge for me is, how do you get people to realize that the thing they are doing to lose weight is making them gain weight? See, when you think about it, Slimming World is one of the biggest cons in the world. And it's right in your face. It's not a sneaky con, it's not a quiet con, it's not a private con. It is front and center. You cannot drive for more than 3 or 4 miles without seeing, not where I live anyway, without seeing a Slimming World banner. You come off the motorway, you drive past the golf course, there's a massive banner there. Call whatever her name is on this number and come to your local meeting. When I go to the school, you drive past the community centre, there's a big banner there. When I drive towards Sainsbury's, there's a banner tied to the railings there. It's everywhere. And yet, like, who is it helping? We have allowed ourselves to be sold the lie that by changing a number on the scale, we are being successful. You know, you were 12 stone, you made it to 9 stone, well done. It's worked. You're a success. Here's a certificate. Here's a whatever. Amazing. Great success. Huge achievement. But how can we call it an achievement when you do not have the tools to stay there? You know, you ask the question, okay, what do I do now? I have just spent the last 12 months of my life focused on weight loss. I have built habits and a pattern of eating and a balance of eating. I've got all these meals, but all of that was to make my weight come down. What do we do now that I don't want my weight to come down? What do we do now that I also don't want my weight to go back up? I don't know how to do this bit. This is the important bit. And then this is where it just fucking collapses. Because all you know is being on plan. But you no longer want or need to be on plan because you no longer want or need to lose weight. So now what do you do? And then the other part to that is you are also expected to keep going to this group for the rest of your life because you've been sold the idea that your success depends on it. Oh, don't go anywhere. You know, you've lost the weight with us. Now you're going to maintain it with us. You can't go anywhere now. You're going to have to keep following the plan. You're going to have to keep coming to the group. You're going to have to keep going through, what was it called? Body. It's not body image. It's not body therapy. It's not body magic. Is it image therapy? Hold on. I'll check my Slimming World book. I am sure, sorry, just knocked all the books off my shelf. I am sure it's image therapy or some shit like that. It's not that one. It's not the food optimizing one. Or is it? Choose 3 foods, choose healthy extras. Maybe it's this one. Love friendship, love your Slimming World group. Do you know, actually, if you're listening to this, if you have a new-ish Slimming World pack, could you send me a message and send it to me? This is my mum's old one, and I assume, actually I'll tell you right now, because her weights will be in the back and there will be dates attached to them. Jesus Christ, okay. So, this is a 2017 book. If anybody has anything that is not 9 years old and is an up-to-date Slimming World pack and you don't mind parting with it, could you send it to me? So this one came in like a little plastic folder and it's got like 5 different books. Like I would like to see what it looks like now. Image therapy, there it is. Yeah, I am pretty out of date with this stuff. Jesus. Image therapy, individual motivation and group experience. So if anybody listening has a relatively recent, like within the last couple of years, Slimming World pack and doesn't mind parting with it, I'll pay the postage if you don't mind posting it to me. Anyway, so you are expected to go to Slimming World for the rest of your life to get help staying at your target weight. Do you know, the whole Slimming World thing was all about freedom. Does that sound like freedom to you? Oh, you're going to get freedom, but you're going to have to come to us forever. That's not freedom. You're going to get freedom, but you're going to have to do sins and healthy extras and free foods and get weighed every week and come to group and not gain weight and stay within 3 pounds of your target, or we're just going to start taking more money off you. That's not freedom, is it? But back to the point. You have spent... I'm going to talk as if I'm speaking like facts because I know I've got such a feel now for how the majority of the people that I work with think and feel. But you have spent all of your adult life dieting. You have spent all of your adult life trying to make the scales go down. And if you overlook like if you ignore the parts where you've lost weight, right? Because those are the minority. That's the thing that you do some of the time. The thing that you do outside of that is gain weight. So 10 years ago, you were 10 stone. And during that year, you managed to get down to 9 stone. But by the end of that year, you were 10.5 stone. So 1 year gone by, a stone lost, but a stone and a half regained. So what's the net outcome? 10 years ago, you gained half a stone. And you go into the next year, you're 10.5 stone. You manage to get down to 9 stone again. And by the end of the year, you're almost at 11 stone. So the net outcome is plus £5. And that's how it goes every year. Your weight just goes higher and higher. You are latching on to these ideas that you've had success. You've seen your weight come down, so you think that you're making progress. You think that things are going well, but it never lasts. Not because there's anything wrong with you or because you're doing anything wrong, but because you're putting your faith and trust and hope into an approach that so far for these last 2 years has led to you becoming heavier, becoming bigger. But we don't see it like that because, and this comes back to why they're a con, they are so clever at convincing you, it's like constant brainwashing, constant subliminal messaging. You don't realize what it's doing to you, but they're beating the idea of success into you with half stone awards, 1 stone awards, Slimmer of the Week, Miss Slinky, Mr. Sleek, all of that shit. It's constant, the rounds of applause, all of that is designed to beat into you the idea that losing weight equals success. Losing weight equals progress. Losing weight equals applause and accolades. So that you then develop and hold on to this belief that weight loss equals success. Getting to a lower number equals success. Following the plan is what led me to that success. So I need to keep following the plan. And this is why I didn't mean to go all in and Slimmer Roll, but fuck it. They deserve it. This is why Slimming World will take all the credit for your progress, all the credit for your losses, and completely wash their hands of you when you put weight back on. It's your fault. Well, you went off plan. What did you think was going to happen? You didn't follow the plan. You stopped coming to group. So it's this blame culture. So all that, oh, you've lost weight. Amazing. You must have been 100% on plan. Oh, you've gained weight. I remember during lockdown 2020, when everything was online and digital, I remember someone showing me an email that they got. So they had to log in, log their weight, and then it was like they either got an email saying well done because they were down, whatever, or they got an email saying and it was along the lines of, your weight's up by £0.5 this week. Don't worry, we all slip up sometimes. Let's work together and find out where you went wrong. Holy fuck. As if weight fluctuations don't exist. As if it's completely abnormal for your weight to go up by £0.5. My goodness. So yeah, how did I start this? Dieting your way to a higher weight. So we don't realise it, but every time we put ourselves through one of these cycles, our confidence is shattered. Our hope starts to fade. We start to think that, well, maybe I'm just supposed to be this way. Maybe this is my body's happy weight. It's just such a horrible, manipulative world to be in. It's gaslighting is what it is. We never had a word for it before. But this whole, oh yeah, you've lost weight, that's us. Well done, you're following our plan and you're having success. Here's an award. Here's a round of applause. Oh, wait a minute. You've gained £2 this week. Oh, Let me take a look at your book. Let me take a look at your food diary. Let's find out what you did wrong. And then this is where this whole idea of, oh, well, I go to Slimming World and I know it's not great, but it works for me. No, it doesn't. You've been going for 25 fucking years. It's not working. If you stop following something and immediately put weight on, and you have been going for 25 years and they have still not taught you anything about how to not put weight back on, about how to understand the way that you think and act and behave, how to understand your habits and your behaviours, it's never going to work. So again, it comes back to that question, like, what is it going to take to get you to realise that dieting is the problem? Dieting is not the solution. Dieting is the problem. Temporarily changing the way that you eat and drink will only ever lead to a temporary change in your weight. Think about weight loss medications. People are taking weight loss medications because they're desperate to lose weight, and I get it. The weight loss medications are truly miraculous things in terms of what they do and what they make it easier to do. But they are not miracles. They're not solutions. They're not long-term solutions. Unless you're someone who has the financial privilege of being able to pay for it for life. And again, they are still very new. We don't know what the impact's going to be. I mean, if you think about it, people right now who are taking these medications, who are in the financial position to take them forever, they're the guinea pigs. We're going to find out in 20, 30 years' time what the impact of that is. And what's it going to be by most things? Oh yeah, sorry, we were wrong. Actually, it increased your risk of some kind of cancer or some kind of horrible health outcome. We don't know yet. They're too new. We know they're okay short term. I guess it's the same with the whole COVID thing, right? All of us, including me, who took vaccinations, at the moment we might feel fine, but there's gonna be some kind of thing happens 30 years down the line, and it's all gonna come out and say, oh, we've actually traced this uptake in whatever this thing is back to this particular vaccination. I couldn't think of the word again. We don't know. But, if you just look back through history, isn't that just how the world goes? God, smoking, people used to think smoking was healthy. We used to use asbestos in cooking, frying pans and things, until we found out, well, actually, this is killing people. This is going to ruin your lungs. You're going to end up like this. People used to work down mines with no masks on and get black lung. Something happens, we do something, and then it's not until 20, 30 years later that we actually found out, shit, we probably shouldn't have done that. So for me, weight loss medications, as miraculous as they are, the point I was getting to there was, as miraculous as they are, weight loss medications are just an accelerated yo-yo diet. Something that you take that allows you to make a temporary change to the way that you think about and use food and or drink, and you lose weight. It's like Slimming World. If you lose weight with Slimming World, your weight maintenance then becomes dependent on Slimming World. You have to go to the meetings. You have to keep showing up. You have to stay within your target weight. You have to keep following the plan. Weight loss medications, if your weight loss comes at the hand of a medication, then you then become a slave to the medication. You can't leave it. You can't get off it because your success is dependent on it. This idea that, everybody needs a diet, everybody needs to be following a plan, it's ridiculous. The question, when 2015, 2016, the question that I asked myself way back then was, there are people who don't have to worry about their weight. There are people who lose weight and keep it off for life. What are they doing differently that I'm not doing? Because no matter what I do, I always end up back at 14 stone or 14 and a half stone. I'm doing the dieting thing. I'm trying all these different things. None of them sticking. I think of myself as being very fortunate that I only did that for 10 years before I asked that question and found the answer. Instead of trying to undo the outcome of your actions, what if you just changed your actions? Instead of trying to undo your weight that you keep gaining, what if you just didn't gain that weight in the first place? I know it sounds ridiculously simple, but that was the angle that I came at it from. And that was when I started exploring, right, well, what am I doing that's putting weight in my body? You're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this. Right, I'm going to work on those things and I'm going to change them. I lost weight for life and kept it off the day that I decided that I was going to stop dieting. Ultimately, that's where it came from. Dieting will never be the solution to the problem that you have. Dieting is just another problem in and of itself. Dieting will always be temporary. It's what it is by definition. Dieting is when people do things for a little while. There are positive ways to diet. There's medical conditions to diet. Okay, you've got IBS, you've got Crohn's, you've got whatever. Let's temporarily change your diet and rule out these foods as trigger foods. Let's follow this protocol and figure this out. But what most people do when it comes to dieting is, I'm going to stop eating like the old me for a little while. I'm going to follow this plan. And would you believe it? My weight has come down. And the thing is, your weight's not coming down because you're following a plan. Your weight's coming down because you're no longer doing all the stuff that leads you to gain weight. That's where it comes from. It doesn't matter what the plan is. As long as you're following something that puts you in a calorie deficit, you're going to lose weight. There's no magic involved. I explain this to people in week 1. When they come to work with me, we get to the end of the first week and they're telling me about all this amazing stuff. Oh my God, I've got more energy. I'm sleeping so much better. I'm not bloated. I'm not sluggish. I'm not lethargic. I've got less brain fog. My menopause symptoms have eased. I've not had any indigestion or heartburn or reflux. And I do not take any credit for it. Right? I could sit there like an absolute dick and say, well, that's just the Monroe method. Is it? It's not. God, imagine if I was that type of person. But, I could sit there and go, that's the magic of the Monroe method. Like all this food optimizing bullshit with Slimming World. Oh, the power of food optimizing. The power of, what is it? The power of free foods. Oh, it's so magic. It's bullshit. I sit and explain to people, look, the reason that you feel the way you do is because you are no longer doing the shit that you were doing before you signed up to work with me. You're no longer overloading your body with calories. You're not eating to excess in the evenings. You're finally giving your body the foods that it needs. You're actually satisfying your hunger because you're eating better. All the positive benefits that you are experiencing is you no longer doing something to yourself. You felt like crap because of the way that you were treating your body. You're not doing that anymore. Now, the reason I explain this is, number 1, like I said, I'm not a dick. But number 2, it's part of it's part of what leads people to lose weight for the rest of their life. Like I said, you need to come at weight loss from the angle of, what am I doing that keeps making my weight go up? So that's why it's so important at this very early stage to say, look, okay, you're here and you're working with me and you're following these calories and we're doing these things. That's not why you feel great. You feel great because right now you're not doing any of that stuff anymore. And it's to create that association between, if you do not want your weight to go back to where it was, you don't need to try super hard here. You don't need to get good at sticking to calories. You don't need to get good at weight loss. You need to understand the direct connection between what happens when you go back to taking care of yourself in that way. That's how you stop yo-yo dieting. It's not trying diet after diet after diet until you find one that just sticks. That's a fantasy, right? That's not how people lose weight forever. The people who lose weight forever are the people who stop doing the things that make their weight go up. There's no other way around it. If someone has followed Slimming World and they appear to be maintaining their weight, and there are people who do that. It's not as awful as I know I make it sound. There are people who are genuinely successful who don't have to go back to groups because Slimming World got them into cooking or it introduced them to new foods, and that's great. But those people are unicorns. They are so ridiculously few and far between. But they're not maintaining their weight because of Slimming World. They're maintaining their weight because Slimming World, or whatever it is that they went through during that process, got them to stop doing the things that they were doing before. But those people are unicorns. It doesn't matter what the diet is. The only way that you lose weight and keep it off for life is if you stop your weight gaining behaviours. So if you've ever followed a diet and it has genuinely, truly worked and you've went on to maintain your weight with little effort or whatever, it's not because the diet was magic. It's not because of some magic combination of foods. It's not because you were lucky. It's not genetics. It's because whatever happened during the process, something happened along the way that made you decide that you no longer wanted to go back to acting like you used to. You made a long-term change. You stopped using alcohol the way that you were. You stopped snacking in front of the TV. You stopped having multiple takeaways a week. Something changed. That is the only way to lose weight for life, to stop performing your weight-gaining behaviours. There's no magic involved. You just need to find something that helps you get to a point where you realise and understand that, okay, if this is what I'm doing that's making me gain weight, what would happen if I stopped doing that stuff? Well, not only will you lose weight, you'll then go on and maintain it and keep it off for life. Anyway, that's my rant about my disenchantment with the weight loss industry. Do you know, I love doing what I do. I love working with who I work with. I love helping the people that I help. I fucking hate the industry that I have to do it in. Isn't that a strange thing? To love what you do, but to hate the environment that you have to do it in. To hate the source of your clients. You know, I detest everything about the diet industry. Everything. There is nothing positive about the diet industry. The diet industry thrives on manipulation. It thrives on failure. It thrives on temporary results. It thrives on you going away and immediately starting to put back on the weight that you lost. I say this thing all the time. There's this phrase that I've latched onto over the years, right? You are paying the same money to the same companies to lose the same weight that you lost with them last time. Imagine you had a problem with your car and you took it to a garage and the garage fixed that. The garage fixed the car. And 1 month later, the same thing broke again. And you took it back to the same garage and they fixed it again and you paid them again. And 1 month later, it broke again. How many times would you take your car back to that same garage before you finally lost faith in it and says, do you know what? You can't fix this. I'm going to have to go somewhere else. And yet, when it comes to, you know, something that isn't like ridiculous, like a car, an object, an item, our body, our health, our quality of life, our future, we're quite happy to keep punishing ourselves through the same cycle, somehow thinking that, do you know what? The first 24 times that Slimming World didn't work, I've got a really good feeling about number 25. I think this could be the one where I somehow manage to get to my goal weight and then something magical happens and I just stay there. It's not going to happen, is it? Anyway, enough from me. I'm sorry, this to turn a bit of a rant. Maybe I shouldn't record podcast episodes at the end of the day when I'm pissed off with the horrible industry that I have to work in. Until next time.